talking about wanting to be bullies. They want to emulate what you did, the Ravens have done for them over the years. How, is it something that you, isn't that something that's innate? Are you teaching that, or do you see this on the field?
Yeah, I think with the guys we have on defense, it certainly is innate. So it's our job to make that come to life. And you do that through your actions, right? You do that through your actions daily, just going out there on the practice field and trying to be purposeful and have clear intention in what we're trying to get done, and trying to solve all our problems with our pads. And ultimately, we get an opportunity to do that 17 times this year, and hopefully at the end of the day, they say we are bullies.
Even though he hasn't practiced yet, what have you learned about Jalen Phillips in your short time?
I learned that he is an absolute freak. He is a specimen of a human being. He is a phenomenal person, and he is chomping at the bit to get out there on the field and play with his guys. So super excited. Mike showed a clip today of just how fast he was running in his rehab program. So let's just say we got excited seeing those numbers.
How fast was he running?
Faster than I've ever seen a dude that big run. Let's say that.
Tariq mentioned yesterday that there's kind of like a game between the team where he was reminding some of the defense that they had the #1 unit last year.
Yeah.
Is that a common thread so far in the training camp? Is there a lot of trash talk about
Yeah.
that? And is there pride from the defensive end in that sense?
Absolutely. I got to be honest, I can't wait to face another opponent because our offense is so talented, but it's iron sharpens iron, right? So for us, the opportunity to go against them each and every day, we know that they're the best. So for us to go out there and compete daily and have this kind of back and forth just shows that defensively we can also chase those same goals. Hey, what's up, Beast?
With Calais, was that someone that you pound the table for, or did they just come and ask your input, or were you the one who was kind of like, oh, we got to get this guy in here?
I think probably a little bit of both. If you haven't been around Calais, you don't know the impact he can have off the field. Everybody sees the phenomenal football player that he is. He is one of the best leaders I've ever been around. He is what I call a force multiplier. So the effect that he has on a team, not just a defense, but a team, is immense. It's like having another coach in the locker room on the field because there isn't a situation he hasn't been in and hasn't seen. The one thing we need to do collectively to to me, like stamp his career is get to New Orleans and win a Super Bowl, and hopefully we can get that done.
How would you describe his leadership style?
I think it's one that he leads through empathy, right? Empathy and example, I think, is what that is. Because on the field, at his age in particular, I truthfully don't know how he does it. It's like LeBron James in basketball and Calais Campbell in football in my mind. Like they're just human marvels. I don't know how he gets it done. And then in the locker room, he doesn't lead from a like this is me on top of the mountain type approach. He is very relationship-minded, relationship-based, tries to get to know each and every one of his teammates. And then once that trust and just conversation is there, that's when he can impart some of the wisdom that he's acquired throughout all his time here.
What is your question about Benito Jones?
Oh, man. I love my big guys. All right, so I love the way Benito's playing. Those guys, they're grinders, right? And they don't get a lot of headlines. They don't get a lot of credit, but he is one of those guys that's out there each and every single day, and he's the same guy. He's consistent every day in his actions. So I love who he is. I love what he does. I know our inside backers love him, and I think Coach Clark and just with that whole defensive line, collectively, the way they approach practice every day is awesome.
I know you've spoken about this, but how do you think that it'll benefit stability guys more often on the defensive?
Yeah, I mean, you're out here right now. It's warm. It would benefit if I could have somebody else come finish this interview right now. So for those guys, particularly those bigs, if we want them to play with uncommon effort, which is something we preach day in and day out, I think it's important for them to stay fresh in order to get that done.
With Cam, obviously the injury was unfortunate, but what did you see from him before he got hurt, and how much ground will you make up once he gets back?
Yeah, I think Cam is such a young player, right? And he certainly has some scars from the previous year, which if you didn't play a lot and you're wondering why, that's going to occur with any young player in that situation. So for me and for us, and I think in order to get the best version of him, which we just started to see prior to injury, he needs to be confident. He can't be afraid to go on that practice field and make mistakes and fear repercussion, particularly at the corner spot. Because whether it's, take the corner spot out of it, whether it's a corner spot, defensive end, anybody on that football field, if you don't step between those lines with confidence, you don't have a chance. You're already beat. So all I'm challenging Cam is to go out there, be confident, be who you are, have faith in your skills, and challenge these receivers, and good things will happen. And when he gets back on that field, I know he's going to do just that.
Anthony, where's Cater Kofu at this current point in training camp compared to what you knew about him when you took the job?
So I felt incredibly confident about Cater coming in. Just as soon as I thought I was in the mix for the job, I went back and watched all the games, obviously. And I kept saying, like, God, who is for? Who is for? Like multiple times, just wrote down who is for. And we see that each and every day out there. The thing you love about Cater is just his competitiveness, right? He's not the biggest guy, but he doesn't back down from anybody. So I love his toughness. He is a tremendous player for us, and he's gonna make a lot of plays for us.
How has it gone in your estimation? At times you've used Jalen Ramsey and maybe some untraditional roles of that ultimate chess piece that you spoke.
Yeah, I mean, so far in practice, it's been exactly what I thought it was going to be. You have a guy like Jalen Ramsey who, yeah, he plays cornerback. He has a cornerback skill set, but he is a football player. So because of his football intelligence and his sheer God-given athleticism and talent, there are multiple places you can use him. And ultimately, for us as a staff, our challenge is to make sure that we can put him in spots where he can be most impactful in the game. The last thing you want an offense to be able to do is like put him to the field and just say, he's your field corner, let's stay away from him. Let's put him in places where they can't predict where he's going to be.
We heard from several offensive players that he still talks trash even when he's beaten. What kind of mentality does that, how does that affect the defense, that mentality?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have that mentality, right? Every offense, defense, football team in the National Football League is going to get beat. You're going to face adversity. Everybody's good. Our job is to win the next play. Win the next play, win the next game, win the division, win the conference, win the Super Bowl. So if you don't have that next play mentality, the emotional ups and downs of this games will crush you. So you have to always be ready for the next play. So I love that about him.
An early take on John Robinson's game?
As advertised, right? He's still a young player, still trying to learn some of the finer techniques and fundamentals of the game. But you see his athleticism and his skill set. And what I love most about the kid is just his intent when he comes to work. He's quiet, right? He's not one of those rookies that are out talking all this stuff and then not backing it up on the field. You can see him just contemplating every single thing that's being given to him and trying to see what bits and pieces he can take from people to use with his game.
How do you get better as an edge setter? I mean, that was kind of your primary job in the league.
Yeah.
What do you do? Is it hand placement? Is it just anchoring down? What do you do to get better as an edge setter?
Yeah. For me, setting the edge to me is like a non-negotiable, right? In terms of getting better at it, I think because you operate with time and distance and you don't know where that guy's going to go, but if you run a straight line and somebody's trying to move lateral, which is I'm a defensive end, right? That's what needs to happen for that guy to get to me. Then I should knock him back and set the edge. It's no different than like if just, you know, if you're going like this and I go straight ahead, like I'm going to knock you backwards. So I tell guys like, listen, roll off the ball, pick your aim and point, play with good leverage, play with hands, lock the guy out, and get ready for that ball to cut back. And fortunately for us, I don't think there's a single outside back or a defensive end who doesn't understand that responsibility and isn't able to get that done.
How do you see the safety battle shaking out? Obviously, we're going to see a lot of Javon on the field this year.
Yeah.
Beyond that, do you look like 3, maybe not 4 guys that can compete for playing time?
Yeah, have a tremendous amount of confidence in all those guys, right? Obviously, we have the veterans that have been here. Javon Hollins been practicing awesome. Elijah Campbell's had a great training camp so far. Jordan Poyer, I mean, can't say enough things about him. Marcus May. We have a tremendous amount of competition at every position. Shoot, the McDermott kid, McDermott? Pat Mack, am I messing this up? I was calling Pat Mack, so I might mess his name up. McMorris, God, dog. I'm sorry, Pat, I apologize. McMorris, Pat Mack, all right, I apologize. But all those guys, man, they've had really good camps. They're grasping this game. They're understanding like when they can take their chances and when they can't. Coach Slowik, Coach Duker have done tremendous jobs with those guys, and I can't wait to just play against another team and kind of show you guys all the work that they've been putting in.
You talk about Jalen being able to play a versatile role. Can you use Javon in a similar way?
We have a bunch of guys that we can use in those ways. So for us, the job is to make it simple for our guys and hopefully create some complexity and some indecision for the offense. And fortunately, we have a bunch of guys that are kind of Swiss Army knives, where they can play multiple spots and they're super smart and they can execute those jobs regardless of where they're at positionally.
Coach, a few more. Mike McDaniel's no stranger to going around to different position groups saying, I want to hear the chirping today, the trash talk.
Yeah.
I'm curious how the gamesmanship has been between you and him as play caller to this side of the ball this game.
I love Mike. I am not much of a trash talker, particularly to guys that are smaller than me. So, no. I know. It was. No, but I joke. I love him. I love him to death. Any trash talk that we have between each other is surely in good fun, because we know ultimately we're just trying to get this team as well prepared and as ready to go as we possibly can.
One last question, Coach.
Coach Calais, I know you probably have addressed this already. What does a 17-year veteran who is familiar with your scheme bring to this defense and to his unit?
Man, just hearing 17 years is wild to me, particularly at the position he plays. But I mentioned this before. When you have a guy that's had the success he has and is still willing to go out there and work as hard as he does, to me, that provides leadership enough. What you guys don't see is how he affects guys in the locker room and how he's constantly trying to reach out and give to anybody who's willing to listen the wisdom he's acquired throughout all his years. So he's a true force multiplier for us.